Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of Three Live Canes. As always, I am Chris. There's the box that says, so this is a different box that says Canes in it on my shirt. Over there is a box that says Bill at Canes Legacy. His face is up there. Down there is the face of Steve-O at 365 Canes Football. Here to talk to you guys about another week in Miami Hurricanes football. Sergio J. Sanchez is where are the Three Live Canes? 9:08, honestly, that's about a normal time, I think. That's about a normal time. Like, notice B. Harp wasn't worried, not concerned. Mo Canes not concerned. Everybody knew here. All three together to start. I know Bill's actually getting his stuff together.
That's actually rare. It's rare that all of us are here at the same time.
Honestly, it gives us a chance to like you know, you got a little bit of like, oh man, I hope Steve-O's here. Steve-O's here. Oh man, I hope Bill shows up. He doesn't. It's fine. But then he pops in there anyway. But
yeah.
Zivo agreed with that.
I popped in and then Chris popped in and I was like, oh man, I'm on time. I looked at the time. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely on time.
There was Zivo was proud the day that it was just him and I that he beat me onto the thing. Well, little does he know, Bill's always here like 10 minutes early. I get here at like 9 and then it's just, that's my timing. I think it's 9. I'm jumping downstairs. But before we get to all the Kane stuff, not that we talked about it at all, the recruits. We're winning a game, got a big game next week. Bill, how are we feeling?
Big vibing, coming off a nice blowout win. Got a couple flips. One pretty much almost out of nowhere. The fire or the smoke started yesterday, but big time defensive tackle. Things are looking pretty good, and I think the title is fitting. It is a spooky matchup, but I won't get to my negativity quite yet.
Spooky for sure. Steve-O, how you feeling tonight?
Yeah, in the words of the Bill, big vibing. It's definitely one of those type of weekends. 42-7. I was at the Hard Rock. Saw the uniforms. The cleats and gloves were crazy. Still think they should have wore black pants, but it was awesome to see. It was definitely, some things you wanted to see. Obviously, clearing the Stanford, game 42-7, covering that 30-point spread. There was a guy on Twitter going up and down saying this is free money, take the Stanford, plus 30.5. And Canes fans found that boy. Oh my God, it was hilarious. But so yeah, I'm big vibing. We got a big time receiver, which I'm probably going to just gravitate towards more because I'm more happy with that. But I love defensive tackles, and especially when Clemson, commits, because let's be real, they don't flip that often, especially a defensive line. It's been a pretty consecutive thing for Clemson to have these type of big name recruits out of North Carolina, South Carolina. That's why their defensive line has been highly regarded over the years. And now they're starting to lose some of that grip. Getting an in-state lineman flip from them, that's kind of not what you see from Dabo and them. So love the Canes just going in there and say, hey, chill out, love bros. Y'all love bros now.
For sure. And again, anytime opportunity to get a guy from Clemson or to beat any kind of rival for a big time player is always a win. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the receiver. We'll talk about Stanford, talk about SMU, talk about the pants for sure. Because I don't know how you looked at that uniform and were like, yeah, let me get a weird off green, like olive-y pant. When the black pants, actually, I was ready to be like, you know what? Not that bad. And then I was like, but the pants. If there was black pants, I would have changed my tune on the uniforms. Just going to say that. But anyway, a lot more to talk about, a lot more style and aesthetic things to talk about too, obviously, because fashion has become a big part of the show as well. Obviously, when you have a guy like Bill in here, how could you not talk about fashion?
We're going white over green at SMU, switching it up.
Oh, yeah, that's surprising from Mario. Surprising. The Stormtroopers, the white over orange, the throwbacks, the white over green is kind of a unique one for him, but see how it goes. But we'll talk about all that stuff and more. Thank you guys for joining us here on Three Live Canes.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Urban's got it. Urban's free.
Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by Ray Lewis.
Big time players. Step up in big game.
Hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Husker up to the races. That's what they needed.
That's Ricks going up for Thorpe, and it's It's intercepted near midfield. Sean Taylor's got another one. Who else?
Who else but Sean? Who else but us? Who else but Milan Paris? Here to talk about on a Wednesday night. See some highlights of a receiver recruit that Miami pulled in earlier today. A 6 foot 5.5, a receiver, like the kind of receiver that, we talked about really wanting. We had a guy like Isaiah Horton in there, then like trying to find guys to fill that spot. So, but the ability to bring in a receiver at this point that, again, a guy that we were able to pull away from another school. Certainly a positive outlook here before we get to the Stanford SMU talk. But Steve, I'll go to you first. It's wide receiver, so as I play the highlights, tell us what you think.
Yeah, so he popped Tuesday. The D lineman popped today, but he's 6'5.5", probably true 6'5", running laser 4.3. What does that tell you? He's a vertical threat. He has a long stride. He can get upfield in a hurry. There's always polish to be had with bigger receivers, but he just doesn't seem like he's uncoordinated at all. He seems like he has his ability to separate. He has his ability to look the ball in, make contested catches, track the ball over his shoulder, track the ball deep. Has some really good senior tape. I'm pretty sure when his senior tape comes out, you see the ball skills right there. What's the point of being 6'5", 6'6", having that huge frame if your catch radius isn't just up here but down here as well? So that's really a good thing that just checks a box off for big receivers. Are they just I can jump up and get it? Or are they the guys who can adjust with true ball skills, looking down? A lot of receivers look up and just let the ball hit them, and if they catch it, they catch it. But now you can tell he's looking the ball in, so that's just good fundamentals. Just a natural hands catcher, so that's why I'm excited about that. He can track the ball deep. We need some injection of the deep shots, and then hey, if a guy's covered but he's 6'5", still chuck it up anyway 1-on-1. So these are the type of commits you like to see. Iowa State was his he was an Iowa State commit. Reminds me a lot of Hayden Higgins, who's now a second-round pick for the Texans. Just that long, lanky, deep threat guy that Iowa State identified. And they got on him early, but it's not like he was a sleeper recruit going to Iowa State. He was a top 150 kid the whole time. He just committed, So nothing like that. You see that the sluggo right there, slant and go. Nice little fluidity, tracking the ball down. So he's an all-around package, and I like to see us get some of these guys every class that just have vertical speed. 6'5" doesn't hurt either.
You're right. Iowa State actually has had a pretty good success finding guys of this like body type. I mean, you said Jaden Higgins, before that Xavier Hutchinson. A couple years
before that, the number 18, I forget his name. He had like the coldest like college tape. Damn, what's his name? 18.
Xavier Hutchinson, right?
Oh, I didn't know his name, but I just know he's number 18. He was cold at Iowa State
from a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
It was Hutchinson, and then they had another dude too, who's in the UFL. I know he was like another dude. I forget his name. I'll come up with him. Bill's talking, but so they produced a lot of like those big body receivers over the past couple of years and made them into NFL draft picks too. So they're probably eyeing up the same kind of potential with this guy too when they had a chance to get him, but obviously Miami with the flip. Bill, thoughts on Milan Paris?
Yeah, when his name kind of first emerged and it was Iowa State, but it's kind of weird to think like, oh, Iowa State, let's trust those evals for a perimeter wide receiver type position. But they've done a very, very good job of identifying and developing those guys. So kind of similar, like talk about how Clemson has done really well with the D line. Iowa State is not to that level with wide receivers, but you definitely trust that. Big wide receiver. Probably I think we need a bigger wide receiver class. A lot of kind of the guys we've recruited really haven't done too much. They still have time to develop, of course, but I think about putting this guy on the field in 2 years with a junior Malachi Toney, that's some big play, ability for whoever's throwing the ball. So, CEO said, top 150 type kid, big playability, and Steve-O like this one. Gabby on his podcast comped him to KJ Duff, former Miami Raw kid, right, and currently at Rutgers.
Going crazy.
Making plays at Rutgers. So if that's kind of who he is, then that's a big time pickup.
Yeah, KJ Duff last week, 7 catches, 264 yards and a touchdown,
6.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah, 6. 241 and a tutty. going crazy. Yeah, leading the Big Ten. Shout out to my boy KJ. But run block highlights, yeah, that's definitely something you need to have at this size, and that's definitely what KJ was about as well. It's not just catching the ball; it's physicality in the run game. So you love to see this dog walking right here. I love that. Coaches are gonna love that. He gets up, he's still dogging, he's talking ish. You don't like to see this guy in the red zone, like, crashing down on this guy. Like, totally kind of unnecessary, but I like it. Like, just crash down, like, they call it tweaking down here. Like, sometimes you just need some, tweak a little bit. You feel me? Show some physicality, let some of those emotions loose. And I like when big body guys just don't use their body for catching passes. If you're going to be an asset in the run game, it's going to help on the perimeter. And it's going to help with, we have to crash down on defensive ends. You crash out on linebackers rushing. Like, if you have a 6'5" guy, 6'6" guy, especially when his frame gets filled out in the strength and conditioning, you kind of feel really confident about those one-on-one blocks, especially on the perimeter.
For sure. And, a guy of this size and ability, like Bill was saying, think about him with a Malachi Tony, like, who'll be a junior, but think of like the guys in these past couple of classes, in this class in particular. Sergio's saying, is this Miami's best receiver class since when? I mean, obviously, there's still a long way to go, and we've had some really good receiver classes in recent years, but certainly it's these guys that have been in this class like so far, and the potential out there to add more. Like, this could be another like top level class. I mean, even think about JoJo's class as a group of guys that we're still really fired up, even though we haven't seen a ton of them from them so far, but still like a high level class. So, what else is there to do with a class like this? We have got some guys up there at the high end, got guys that are rated 90 plus 4 stars. So, like, who else are we looking for out here, Steve-O?
There's probably, some evaluations at the board still going, and probably some guys that, if they want in, they'd probably let in. But nothing anybody would want to say. And as well as, the senior tape matters so much, especially when you got a guy like Milan Paris. His senior tape right now is going crazy. It's really going crazy. He's making plays downfield at an alarming rate. So it's just definitely, who's to say you don't see some guy senior tape and say, hey, I need this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, let me circle back on this guy. So I never close that chapter. I think there could always be a name that pops up. There's been some offers recently that people have, raised eyebrows at. So they're still evaluating the position. So I'm definitely don't have a name for y'all, but I wouldn't be surprised if a name does pop up in the near future, hopefully closer to December, so people can not worry about what we got going on.
If there's one thing about this staff, that they're constantly working, definitely more so in the shadows, than probably the next guy we're going to talk about. Essentially came out of nowhere right this week. I totally even forgot we were after him at some point back in June. So, we'll see where it ends up in December. Then we'll probably have that conversation about where this class stacks up to others.
Before we do go on to the defensive tackle recruit and talk about him for a second, there's a comment here that I'm very interested to hear, especially Steve-O's opinion on this. Port Knox said, the drone footage is fire. The drone footage tape. Steve-O, did you like the drone tape? Did you like that?
I don't mind the drone tape. You're used to it, especially you watch all 22. I've had drone footage at practice, so I'm used to watching it as well. So drone footage is drone footage. You get it, go ahead. Somebody's over there with the holding it down for everybody. So shout out to him. Shout out to bro over there who's holding it down, making sure that thing don't go AWOL and fly off to the moon on you. But shout out to bro. Yeah, I don't mind drone footage at all. And a quick comment on that. When in the NIL era, especially, you don't want to give heads up. This was a silent against Clemson. You didn't hear about it. You just, oh my God, it came out of nowhere. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to give collectives a chance to be like, oh man, this guy's going to, Miami, let's up the bag on him. Let's do this. Let's make sure we do this. Let's promise this. When that decommitment just comes, that their first instinct is not, oh man, let's go pay him more money now to get him back. No, it's just like every fan base. They're going to say, we ain't need that guy. We got another guy coming up, but we're going to throw our money somewhere else. A lot of these guys are proud with their money. So really, really good advantage to keep things quiet. And while you're working other schools commits, it's just, especially with this NIL where it's legal, you just got to.
Yep, the guy you guys have been mentioning, kind of talking about a little bit, Keyshawn Stansel, the guy that Clemson had wanted that, in Miami worked quickly to get the switch, and Bill made a good point. You heard about it in the past, but months ago, and then all of a sudden he makes the move down to verbally commit to the Hurricanes. It's a pretty big deal. And Bill, I'll go to you first. Like, when you watch a guy of this ability, like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the staff thinks very highly of him. This guy, what you envision him being is a game wrecker, right? Coming from the 3 tech. I believe he's in this 6'3", 270-ish range right now, maybe 280. So he'll pack on some pounds as he goes, but definitely has some really good movement skills. He just did a little jump step there, but just gets penetration, and that's kind of what Heatherman really wants out of his D line. So we've recruited the edge really well, but we got to start making big time moves at defensive tackle, and this certainly fits the bill for that.
Steve, thoughts?
No, 100%. And I like these type of defensive tackles with some twitch. They shoot gaps. They're able to make plays. Think of guys like RJ McIntosh, Ahmad Moten, guys who could shoot gaps even at that size that they put on under their time at the U. It's just that quickness, that short area quickness, and that acceleration in between 5 yards as a 300-pound plus guy, which he's going to be by the time he's playing at Miami. That makes the difference so much when you have that type of 5-yard radius where you could get a speed guy to the ground, a skill guy to the ground. And that's usually coming from the backside of zone blocking schemes, crashing, slipping gaps, things of that nature. And that's what this defense is all about. So doesn't surprise me at all. He's not oh my God, he's a project. This is a big time rated kid. We're flipping him from Clemson, who has, pretty much hit for like a decade straight on having, some good defensive lineman evaluations. And it's just a really good area when you're thinking about North Carolina in whole, because even North Carolina's had their fair share of big-time defensive linemen. UNC, has had them out of there. So it's definitely a great area to tap into, and I'm excited for it. Every time we get a guy who could move inside, I'm always down for it, because that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Is there any thought to a kid like this, with considering what we saw at the staff, getting like Mesidor, kind of playing inside-out game for a while, then eventually deciding, like, no, he's going to stick on the edge, and then maybe losing a little bit of weight and staying out there, a guy with this kind of athleticism and size to be an edge guy. And I know that's not really like the prototype for a lot of other schools, but Miami's had a lot of success this year with bigger-bodied edges that just move like with unnatural quickness. Any thought that he could be a player that sticks out there, or do you think, obviously the natural profile is a guy that any recruit you get that's big time that's sitting 275 is going to add weight. But maybe a guy like Mesidor never did put on that weight and now is thriving in the outside position. And he thought that could be a possibility, or just in general, like, what's the thought after you lose Mesidor and Bain? Like, is it just Lightfoot, who's still on the Slater's scale of things, steps up, or other solutions on the end? What do you think, Steve?
No, you got guys like Malik Bryant. You have other guys, but I don't know. I feel like his future, while he could probably play some strong side defensive end, he's probably going to make most of his living inside, either slipping the gaps in the zones on there, or finding a way to detach from a double team or a duo and to make sure that he doesn't get up to the linebacker. So things of that nature, I think that's going to be in his future, especially with that type of play strength. But that in between 5 yard, quickness that you saw him, in between the tackle box, 5 yards, it's a little bit more than that. So in between like 7 to 10, in between the tackle box, and having that quickness to be able to get skilled guys to the ground, I think having that on the inside just makes your defense better as a whole. Just having a guy who can move like that inside is just a must for me. It's great to say, oh yeah, Bain, because Bain is crazy. Obviously, Mesidor is also really good as well. But the defensive tackle play, hasn't gotten as much highlight as people, look at it and say, hey, that's a good play. But if you're really looking at it, Ahmad Moten's played really good football. You've had David Blay, who had some pre-snap penalties versus Stanford, but came back and made some plays. There's also some young guys that have flashed early. Justin Scott, we're probably waiting for him to take that next step, as a Canes fan. And then you see guys like Donta Simpson getting a snap and then getting a big TFL, making plays as soon as you get in. So looks like the future is bright at the position.
Yeah, I think you want that quickness lined up over, the interior, the guard. Not saying he's obviously as quick, but like think about like what Greg Russo did on the inside, being so much quicker. And if he can be quicker than a guard and around 300 pounds, I think that's the mismatch you want, because you want those mismatches on the interior if you have your choice. And the class is sitting at 12 on 24/7 right now.
Think about it. Every time these high-profile tackles are going in college, and they say, "Hey, he's a guard in the NFL." There's a reason why he's a guard in the NFL, because that means his feet ain't quick enough. So if you could out-quick a guard, that's great matchup. That's like, as a defensive coordinator, knowing, hey, I don't have to pull out stunts, 30 times a game to get for this guy to get some penetration.
And LSU is slightly ahead of us in the rankings right now, so I can't envision that lasting too much longer. We should be sliding on up just on decommitments alone.
Yeah, they might even get some commitments now that he gone.
real quick on that, because before we get to the Stanford game, I don't know if you guys have been paying much attention to like the weird politics behind it, but the governor of Louisiana was the one that seemed to like be ready to drop the hammer, and he's working directly with the board of directors at LSU and bypassing the athletic director. The governor and the board are making the next football coach hire. What do you think about that? That's the next phase of college sports.
Louisiana mafia. There's a mafia behind that somehow, but I think it's because they're about to fire. They're about to fire the athletic director, because he hired Jimbo at A&M to that historic deal. He hired Brian Kelly, made that big money deal, and he's 0 for 2 in his last 10 years on coaching hires. So I think they're saying, hey, you want to get elected again, you better listen to us. You want some money for that campaign, you better listen to us. I don't think politics and sports should be together, but out of any state, I mean, Louisiana kids in Louisiana, they're just hella faithful to that school. So this community support, all that support is probably there for them. They'll say all that, but really this is people funding a campaign and telling you we won't fund your campaign, next time your election's up or whatever else you got going on. If you don't let us pick this coach.
Man, a happy population, right? Probably just more likely to vote for the incumbent, I would think. And I would think that the LSU football record probably plays a large part in the overall happiness of the state of Louisiana. So a lot of taxpayer dollars involved, right, with these massive buyouts and things like that. But again, it's probably just not a good look. But this is also the same school that stole money from a children's hospital. So I guess anything goes for them.
They came out and said, don't worry, this has been the bill was footed for Brian Kelly almost entirely by one donor, and no money has come away from taxpayer by 0%. That's true. 0%.
Yeah, no taxpayer money. Yeah, from this year. It was last year's taxpayer money. Yeah, but they gave the boy a $20 million check up front. Yo, out of here.
Yeah.
I would have loved that phone call. I would love to get that phone call. Yo, hey, you out of here, buddy, but we got $20 million for you. Where you want to send it?
The guy AD's trying to make you feel hey, look, we had to separate. It wasn't getting done, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to make you feel better. Maybe next job, blah, blah, blah. By the way, $20 million. Where do you want it? $20 million. I mailed it yesterday. That's what a windfall. That's why you talk about James Franklin, the opportunity to go to Virginia Tech and just sitting on money. He could do whatever he wants at this point. Except he can't be a broadcaster, because if he went to broadcast, he wouldn't get his money or something. So,
no, I think he had to be one. Either get a coach or a broadcasting gig to offset some of the buyout money from Penn State. if I'm Virginia Tech, I'm probably not paying him much. I'm probably paying him. Obviously, they're going to have to make him pay, fair, ACC head coaching money, but he could probably get away. They could probably get away with 4-5 million and let Penn State pay him. Yeah, probably. That's reasonable. They can't complain and make Penn State pay the other 4.5 million, and then just say, hey, we'll pump that money into your roster. I think that's a win for James Franklin. It's a win for the ACC. It's a win for our rivalry with Virginia Tech because they've been on a really down spiral since Coach Frank Beamer went. So I'm happy for it, and as good as they get, we're still supposed to just smack that. So I'm not scared. I'm not going to be like, oh man, now VT is going to be good. Man, they should be.
Yeah, I'm not particularly worried about it. James Franklin's a decent coach, but we'll see what he's able to do with them. And then before we start worrying about Virginia Tech, I do like the idea of the rivalry being back. I'll always talk about how good it was to have that rivalry back at the Big East, how cool it was to have that game being something year to year. Very similar to the other rivals we've had in the Big East, but still, we'll see if it's able to get back where it needs to go. But speaking of major rivals, Gary Furman, do you remember the Marcus Vick game? Think about the Marcus Vick game every day of my life.
Every day is crazy.
Every day. Stormtroopers out there. There was number 2 versus number 3, or 3 versus 5, or whatever it was.
Was that 5?
That was, I want to say 05. I believe 05. Right?
Yeah, right? Or not, or yeah, because it couldn't have been 06 because that's the year we beat them again. We beat them back.
Marcus Vick Miami game. They know. Google knows.
27-7. That was the November 5th, 2005.
Yep.
Yeah, then we win 2006, right? At beat Tech.
Yeah, just for reference, Marcus Vick was 8 for 22 for 90 yards and 2 picks in that game. It's a rough stat.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great.
Here's a trivia question. Hopefully no one's looking at it. Who led us in receiving yards for that game? Without looking.
Jenkins?
Nope.
Ryan Moore?
Nope. It's an underrated Kane, but a fan favorite. You're probably not gonna get it. Quad Hill.
Quadrine.
Yeah, Quad.
Stud.
He had 35 receiving yards. He only had 146 yards.
Was it the backs? Did the backs take it over in that game? Andrew Johnson have a big day? The president?
Quad had 35 yards. Jenkins had 33. Sino 27. Greg Olson 23. Moore 20. Leggett 14.
Yeah, I was almost right. It was almost Jenkins.
Yeah.
2 yards off.
Charlie Jones led us in rushing.
Yeah, I was about to say Charlie. Yeah. That get my dad hyped right now. 5-star out of South Dade. I remember him telling me that my entire life. He still got that jersey. We talked about it. But, oh, man. You hear Charlie Jones, he might get hyped.
I was laughing. Those 4 backs we got in that class, that with Deron Thomas, Bobby Washington, Charlie Jones, Andrew Johnson. And people were like, this is the greatest running back class of all time. I remember in the NCAA game, they were all 80s. So as freshmen, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be
9 speed.
This is the greatest thing that's ever been put together. And then, nah.
That was similar to the Jalen Knight and Don Chaney class. That turned out not so good either. So
that gave the freshmen their freshman year encouraged that. At least we saw it in the uniform.
Yeah. Anyway, but speaking of major rivals like Miami and Virginia Tech, how about the rivalry now budding between Miami all the way over there and Stanford all the way over there? Nothing like a cross-country rival. But watching this game, at any point did it feel like this is really weird? This is a really weird
whole first half. We're talking about 7 at halftime. Yeah, it was weird.
Game.
It was weird.
And
it started raining, and we went crazy.
Bill said to me, I said something along the lines of, that was the strangest blowout I've ever watched in my life.
It was
hilarious
even
to cover. Well, it was just the strangest blowout.
Even just like the weirdness of the game, like even similar to like playing Cal last year at like 10:30. The game didn't end until like 1 or 2 in the morning. Just ridiculous. I hate these conferences.
Playing a team like that, obviously Miami went in as a major favorite, 30-point, like all that and stuff. And out of the game developed early. I mean, they scored when it was 7-7. You're like, they're not doing anything, but at the same time, looking at us and like we still can't manage to figure out a way to get things going. Steve, like we eventually like put it on him, like you said, once the rains came, because we played 80% of our games, I feel like, in the rain at some point this season. But what was it early on that you think was holding Miami back from being able to do what they were supposed to do to a team like Stanford?
So the defense gave up another early drive, just like versus Louisville. However, just like Louisville, they clamped down after that. Obviously, they did not score again after that opening drive, and that was not just, Stanford wasn't executing. Yeah, there was that, but that defense was playing lights out. From the defensive line to the secondary, we saw a corner get a pick. We've seen some plays being made. So Keontae Scott with another big time game at nickel. So defensive backs made plays. Shout out to Xavier Lucas with his first pick at Miami. So you could say that Stanford didn't execute, but the defense played really well. So for that game to be 7-7 at halftime, it just was probably just a reality check in that locker room. Like, hey, we just not executing, because we were calling this. We had some good runs early on, but in the second half, those good runs were just consistent. They weren't a good run and then a TFL, or a good run and then an incomplete TFL, and then third down we're trying to put it on Beck. That second half, we consistently got good yardage on first down in the run game. If there was some more meat on the bone to be had, I think we could have had maybe a long touchdown and definitely another long run if a different hole was hit or just some different vision. A lot of Canes fans were talking about the Fletcher cutting back inside when the outside was there. Those are split-second decisions, but yeah, obviously he had more space to the outside. There's 1 or 2 more plays that I was referring to that I think we could have probably popped a little bit more when we had an opportunity to get wider a little bit. I know that's like a big thing with the Canes fans and the run game, but when you talk about diversifying the run game, so doing the same inside zone, but actually throwing the bubble, actually throwing that quick out on the RPO one to Tony Johnson when he got jiggy, hit a spin move on buddy, then dead leg his next homeboy. So just showing some playmaking ability, getting Mally involved. We threw a bubble route that I was begging for last week on the channel to Lofton. We threw it, and guess what? It was 1st and 10, ended up being 2nd and 1. Like, those type of plays keep you ahead. So yeah, you want to diversify the run game. You can say that, but pulling that thing more often for the RPO also diversifies the run game, because it's the same play. Everybody, keeps them on their heels. Those, second level defenders and the number 2 defender was shooting every time. Now, if you continue to do that, it's going to be some hesitation. Now we could maybe get up to a linebacker and seal. It's because he's not fully crashing out on the run game. So I'm cool with it. Keep pulling that RPO. A lot of the same things were said when we had Rhett Lashley here as an OC. These are just kind of how these offenses work. They run a lot inside, and like Coach Dawson said, 90% A and B gap. I probably wouldn't do 90%, but I understand it, and I've been in offenses that run like this. So I can't say it doesn't work. Obviously, you would love for some creativity a little bit more. We've seen some end arounds, the quick reverses to Mally where we scored. So yeah, that type of stuff is good, but we also had the quick screen games to Mally. You always see him, breaking a screen for a couple yards, a couple first downs every game. So that's an extension of the run game. So yeah, it's not the sexiest, but if our center and guards push people like they're supposed to push people, it'll be more effective that we saw, in Stanford in the second half. But again, it is Stanford. We're going to have to see that versus a bigger team. If we can run the ball and dominate them physically on the offensive line and play power football like that, but maybe just have a little bit better vision on some runs that'll break then I'm cool with that. You know, the Lyle run popped. That was a good take to take it outside and bounce it. So if you have a couple of those type of plays in a year with the, you know, in a game with the overall pounding, then I'm cool with the run game. Just keep throwing the RPO a little bit, get those numbers out. There's a couple of times where I showed last week, you know, we had motioning people into the box to block. A couple of times this week, we motioned out. We were running into a 5-man, 6-man box, more favorable numbers for us. So, you know, I'm not really as discouraged as most Canes fans right now. I understand. But I like just to see the more RPO that we call it versus Stanford.
Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, dominating, you know, performance from the defense, you know, talk about the first drive, but whether you give up one touchdown, who cares if it's the first drive, second drive, fourth drive, you know, creating turnovers. You know, all the focus is on the offense, but definitely just wanted to throw that out about the defense. But you know, I think this offense would be in a very, very bad position if we did not have Malachi Tony, even on that fourth down where he essentially bailed, you know, back out with, you know, the one hand, you know, across his body type catch. And then, you know, just creating plays even on, I think it was the end around where he just, you know, kept his balance, made a play. So he's kind of the X factor for this offense. You know, I think the offensive line is, you know, they got it going in the second half. That first half was absolutely rough watching it. But, you know, Stanford isn't, they're not that good. So I think, you know, but I did like what I saw from Dawson with the extra little wrinkles. You know, we were never going to overhaul the entire offense, right? Like mid-season, but you just have to continue to adapt to what, you know, the defenses are doing to you, right? Louisville, you know, showed something, you know, Stanford, you know, bless their hearts, we're trying to, you know, replicate it. But we were able to, you know, eventually take control, blow them out, get some of the backups in. And I was extremely proud that we actually tried to just run the offense almost as normal as possible, you know, with Emery in there to get some, you know, real good reps for him. You know, Pringle looked good out there. You know, some of the younger receivers. Yeah, it was good to see us actually get them quality reps instead of just playing, you know, halfback dive for, you know, half a quarter or whatever it was. So
it's raining and they let Emery throw the fade to Josh Moore. I was so hyped. I wanted that thing to hit. I was ready to go crazy in that stadium. I was like, look at Mario throwing the fade right now. Like, that would have been, I was ready to go crazy. I was already out of my seat. As soon as that thing was thrown, I was up.
That's what these games should be. It should be an opportunity. I know, Steve, we always say it, like these are the games that the fans should be there to see the young guys get opportunities. Even inside of the ACC, Stanford's a team they should beat. They should beat handily. There's a reason that Vegas put 30 points on it, and obviously Vegas is pretty darn close to being right, even if it didn't look that way for quite a little while. But
we never take that garbage time touchdown when we're up either, so that's what pushes over the edge there. Yeah. I was laughing at myself because I was like, a lot of people just lost a lot of money because of that.
And all the people who was probably joking about Coach Mario not taking the knee. Yeah, we ain't taking no knee, baby. Go ahead, Pringle, run that thing in.
So Miami obviously coming off that game and now going into another game, like talk about fake rival of Stanford, but now a rivalry in the sense of the coach that is over there that has done a good job over the past over his recent tenure with SMU. Obviously, this year isn't like what it was last year where they were making a crazy run, but still SMU, a very good team, an opportunity that for Rhett Lashley to make another big impact on a national stage in a significant game. This one, a noon kickoff. Steve likes the noon kickoff. Go and continue watching football. Like you said, know what the fate of Miami after going to it, but a very different scenario. An offense in Stanford that, like Bill said, bless their hearts, they tried. Now you got to go against Rhett Lashley, a guy that really carried us for a while with his offensive genius and the way he saw things. But Steve, going into this one, what are your thoughts?
You're definitely expecting to score points. Obviously, you want the defense to play well and hold them out, but just kind of like Louisville, you knew that they were going to make their plays, you know, on offense. So you didn't expect it to be obviously back-to-back on the opening drives, but they're definitely going to make plays. That first 15 from Rhett Lashley's elite. We know that. There's not a Canes fan out here who does not think that first 15 from Coach Lashley was successful because it was dynamite for us. we were always, scoring first drive, second drive. So expect that to be, there. He's going to see things on tape. He's going to dial things up. Whether they execute or not, we'll see. That's why games have to be played. Score some points. So when you're playing against a guy like Rhett Lashley, his team, I think you have to, as an offense now, be prepared to, instead of the defense having your back, keeping you in and telling you until halftime, letting you wake up, like the offense has to come out swinging, score touchdowns, field goals. Their field goals, their points, you'll never go broke making a check. But, we got to put up some touchdowns. We got to score first. We got to put more pressure on SMU and then let our defense play with that, pin your ears back, go pass rush and, get these guys. They're trying to hit Romello downfield. They got a guy named Jordan Hudson downfield who had transferred a couple years ago from TCU. So you got to understand that they're going to make some plays. But if we could play fast, we could score and just let our pass rushers put their ends back, I do not think they have the offensive line to hold us. Well, they could probably hold us, but I don't think they have the offensive line to keep us in check.
Do you think they'll – Louisville – I thought that was kind of the talk going in, is that they didn't have the line to hang with us. And then Louisville was trying to find ways to get the ball to the quarterback's hand, like do different things to keep us off track with our defensive line. Do you think Rhett could incorporate that kind of stuff? Is that part of his game as a play caller? Yeah,
it definitely is, but – you got to think about it. You think Coach Dawson called a lot of inside runs. Y'all remember, y'all remember that Rhett Lashley offense when you saw Chaney and Knighton, like, oh my God, but they were bouncing that thing outside. So it's just about the running back in the hole and, can you get to that edge? So some very consistent things that you'll see from Rhett Lashley. I think running up the middle is going to be one of those things that if it works for them, it works for them, but I don't think he'll change that for his playing against us. However, the quick passing game, yeah. And he has a mobile quarterback. So it's going to work where not only can you get him, chip Bain and get a play going the opposite direction, you could also roll his quarterback out. You could bootleg his quarterback. You could, get his quarterback, change his launch point because he's comfortable throwing on the run. So a little bit more dynamic. Not a little bit, but hella more dynamic than Louisville's quarterback. So I definitely think he's going to incorporate some things to try to mitigate our defensive line. However, there's mitigating and executing are totally different. We did not execute fully versus Louisville. We could give all the credit in the world to the scheme that Jeff Brown put on, but there was just plays. There was times where you just have to win one-on-one matchups and get to the quarterback. So if we win some one-on-one matchups and get to the quarterback, I think we'll be fine.
Fair enough. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of game that, kind of scares me a little bit, right? Because, Lashley's going to throw the kitchen sink. I don't care what happened last week. They only scored, 10 or 12 points against, Wake Forest. Throw that out the window. Mobile quarterback, like Steve-O was saying. Just, they're going to get theirs, whether it's just through scheme. They got some ex-Canes that are probably, itching to make a big play here and there. But, because they can score points, what does our offense do? And, SMU is actually pretty good against the run. I know that they're undersized, but they just seem like a scrappy bunch that, could give us fits, especially if things aren't, clicking up front or, Beck has, not, his best outing. I know that the spread jumped from 10 to 12 and a half. So I don't really know where that line's coming from. Could we do it? Yeah, but I think this is going to be, one of those dogfight type ACC games that we've seen pretty much every week, minus last week for the last, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and if we get into a shootout where points are being scored, consistently, and they're going to try to get up in that range too. Hopefully the defense is able to make those key stops where there's, and I feel like they can based upon what we've seen this year. Like this defense looks like, outside of Louisville, but even in the Louisville game, they stepped up in an opportunity and gave the Miami offense a chance when we needed them to. And every other game they've been able to do that. So big opportunity there to get some turnovers. You got those guys in the defensive backfield that can make those kinds of plays. Hopefully they're able to take advantage of it when they get there. Now, like big picture, this is a game where it probably does determine a lot because you look at the national landscape of things like people complain about, oh, Miami got dropped this spot and we're tied with this team and do this, blah, blah. Like based upon where we are right now, apparently Miami has a higher possibility of making the college football playoff and the national championship game than we do of making the ACC championship, which is one of the craziest things. But because of where Miami is with their record and because of who we play and who plays who and the amount of teams in the ACC and who can get there undefeated and blah, 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 it does appear that Miami has a pathway to making it to the playoff without the ACC title game. Weird, but doable. I don't know, Bill, if you guys thought about that at all, but it's just in terms of the grand scheme of college football, like how odd is that where we are.
Yeah, it's just, that's another, these big conferences, but 11-1 definitely gets you in. And, the next couple weeks are just going to be, a bloodbath of all these overranked SEC teams, taking additional losses from each other. So, I think if we're 11-1, we should be hosting a playoff game, in my opinion. But it's going to be interesting to see what the committee does, because they can't have like 3 ACC teams, right? If Georgia Tech is, undefeated with their schedule, or 1-loss Georgia Tech and 1-loss Virginia in the ACC championship game, those 2 should definitely be in. You can't drop a team out because of the conference champion. And then you have 11-1 Miami sitting there. It's kind of the worst case scenario for the committee. And also you can't drop Miami below Notre Dame because they beat them and Notre Dame has an additional loss. So, I think everyone in that committee room is just hoping that, Georgia Tech and Virginia, even Louisville, because they only got 1 loss too, they can definitely throw a wrench in some things. But essentially the next 5 games are our playoff games for us. We lose, we're done. We're at 1, no chance in the ACC, and we're not getting in at 10-2 to the playoffs. So 5 weeks left, 5 playoff games, win them all. You're probably hosting a game at Hard Rock.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, we just have to win. I don't think it's that uncommon for teams that didn't win playing their championship. Ohio State did it last year. The year before, Bama did it. So it's just really common at this point. It's just whoever the committee want to go with from the conferences that they want to support. So hopefully the ESPN is going to say, hey, we own the ACC too. They get 3. And then try to steal some from the Big Ten. If anything.
Very possible. Very possible. All right. Now it's almost 10 o'clock, which means it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the show. Predictions. Go back over what happened last week. Look ahead to what happened next week. This week was first couple weeks of the season, I was pretty locked in to know how close I was, but this week I didn't really understand where I was. Now there was a reference. You guys saw Gary Furman popped in earlier just to make sure we knew that he was right with his crazy prediction of us losing at the half to Louisville. He did remember that, and he was very proud of it. But, Bill, how we doing based upon last week?
This was actually pretty tight. We were all within 9 points of each other. So coming in last place this week was Chris missing by 14 points. Steve-O coming in third, missing by 12 points. And then for the first time this year, the chat took it.
Yeah, let's go, chat.
B Harp was only 5 points off with a 38-6 prediction.
Look at B Harp. That means we run back B Harp, right?
Yeah. I'm about that. He won. He can go back to back.
I got to run it back for B Harp. And then 2 weeks ago, we would have picked B Harp too, but we screwed him over with the coin toss. So.
I ain't screw him over with the coin toss. He lost the flip. See, it was destiny. It was time. It was his time this week.
All right, good job, B Hart. Well done, sir.
And we'll recap the crazy predictions. So it was at CF Keenfin had a Miley with a 90-yard punt return. Almost did not happen, although he did almost have multiple punt returns, but our own team tackled them. I had 3 or less penalties that was eliminated, I think, within a minute of the second half starting. We did end up only with 5, so it wasn't that far off, but I think Blay had 2 by himself, so that wasn't hitting. Chris had JoJo with 2 catches. JoJo got out there, no catches though.
Oh, I should have done the snaps.
And then Steve-O coming in with Josh Moore, 3+ catches. And if my memory serves, he had 4. So Steve-O hit the wild one.
Whoa.
Yo, let's get it.
Yeah, he had 4 or 5, but I know he caught like a screen. I was like, I'm pretty sure Steve-O hit the crazy one because I remember someone had Josh Moore.
Look at
Yeah,
that, Steve.
we do it. We do it.
All right, B Harp as the defending champ, he gets to carry it again. So there's B Harp's prediction: 37-20 Hurricanes. I'll throw everybody else's up to be polite. CF Kane fan at 23-20, Fresh at 41-28, Ben Pfeiffer 34-13, and bagging up, very importantly, 34-30 Canes. Now I know you're like, oh wait, hold on a second. We've already blown that, right? There's Bill and the bagging up prediction. Bill was not on the show before Louisville. So I'm thinking maybe it's got to be a Bill on the show prediction, like not a before, because Bill has a tendency like last minute to go like, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty, and switch it up. So I'm going to count this as still being alive. The bag it up Bill double play. Still alive, still undefeated, whether you like it or not. But so I think we'll go to Bill. What do you think?
I said, let me go last because there's a lot going through my head right now. I'm not doing it to play Prices Right either. So this is a legitimate dilemma in my head right now.
All right. Then Steve-O, let's make it easy because I know Steve-O's going to
go. I go blowout all the time. The one game I don't go blowout, it's not us. I mean, it is. So I'm definitely going to put it at 42-24.
Okay.
I'm going to go 31-27. 31-27.
Wow. In my head, I was at 31-28.
You won't pick it.
I'm going to switch it. I'll go.
Pick it, Bill. Pick what you want to pick. Be a man about it.
I'm going to go 34-31.
34.
Miami, just to be clear.
You got to clarify.
Just to be clear.
All right. Sergio at 31-14 in there. All right. Crazy prediction time.
I shall go last as the reigning champ. I'll let y'all go first.
That's fair, Steve-O.
I'll go first. Former Canes on SMU account for 2 turnovers.
So that's CJ and Romello.
Yeah.
Or if TBD gets in.
So they both
2 plus turnovers. Now that I forgot about TBD, I'll go 2 plus turnovers, not 2 exact. So 2 plus TOs, former Canes.
I'm going to go Fletcher. Crazy. I'm going to say Fletcher breaks 100. One of Marty and Lyle breaks 75. The other one breaks 50. So 100-yard rusher, 75-yard rusher, 50-yard rusher.
50 rusher. Ain't it bad.
So Fletch 100 and then a 75 and a 50. Is that?
Yeah, 100, 75, 50. And I'm gonna specify Fletcher, maybe like frustratingly, because that could screw me. But
yeah. Okay. All right. Defending champ, Steve-O. And then you get to pick the winner or the group 2. Chat.
Yeah, so I'm doubling down on my boy Josh Moore, and I'm going Tutty. Anytime touchdown this week.
Ooh.
Josh Moore. Touchdown. Locked in. All right. So What do you like from the chat?
There's a couple good ones. We already went B Harp, so can't go his 300.
Here, I'll put some of them up as we go.
Bagging up 4 has a very interesting one.
Baggins got a JoJo, gets a 50-yard pass. Big game, Tony Johnson.
You got to give me something more specific. I'm with that. I've been a fan of his. I've shouted him out a couple times. We have two back-to-back comments at the same time saying TVD throws, or no, he said Beck throws 3 picks. Oh,
yeah,
no, we can't do that.
You saw him backing up. No, it's back.
We'll go.
It's Sergio. Give us. There we go. Sergio gave us numbers on Tony Johnson.
You want to go? Let's do a coin flip. We'll do Hoodie Girl. What's good, Melissa? We'll do Tony punt return touchdown or Tony 50-yard, which is Tony Johnson, by the way, 50-yard TD.
You're gonna go Tony versus Tony.
Yep. All right. So
Tony
is tails. Tony is his heads. Tony Johnson's heads. Mally is tails. It's tails. Mally punt return.
Mally punt return.
Just in case people want to see. Feel me? I ain't bucking.
I'm glad you held it on your hand like that, Steve. Good stuff.
Look like a FAMU hoodie. For a second, I was like, what?
A little bit, yeah.
He's a rattler now?
Yes, long time no see, Melissa. Glad you're in there. Glad you're enjoying the show. But that good timing for that because that'll pretty much do it for us.
Always tune in towards the end.
That's right. Well, there's a big show. You always go back and watch some of these fantastic takes that we had over the course of the last hour. And right before we get into it, last time I remember I said I'm going to throw crazy questions out of the chat while you guys are doing your final thoughts for the people. I'm going to go, what's your Halloween costume this year? What's your Halloween costume this year? You guys can answer it if you want to. The chat's going to answer it. Or for you guys, I'm going to say, what was your favorite Halloween costume that you ever wore?
That's easy for me. I was Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down one year.
Let's go on.
So basically, I got to just get drunk and curse at people, which is probably what I normally do anyway at that point in my life. So
had a good reason. Had a good reason for it.
Except I did it with a mullet, so too.
Nice.
I don't know. That's all one. Had some good ones as a kid.
Yeah, feel free to go kid on it. I'm gonna go kid on it.
No, actually, I had one a couple years ago. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but a couple years ago I was an anime character named Zoro for One Piece.
Stunning result.
Or I was a Jedi one time, Palpatine. You power. I'll go Palpatine.
That's pretty good. I was when I was a little kid, my mom made me a Ninja Turtle costume, like from scratch, out of like felt and stuff, and like the whole thing, like green pants.
What color?
Oh, Michelangelo.
He was orange.
Green and orange. But yes, I was Michelangelo. Why? I'm guessing you're Leonardo because he had swords and you're a big anime guy.
Nah, I like Raphael. I like the daggers.
Oh, okay. All right. Very nice. You learn something new every day, Steve-O. But when I was in college, I remade it for a college party the exact same way my mom made it when I was a little kid. And had the whole thing wrapped the felt around the turtle shell, the whole thing. I was very proud of myself. But anyway, I'm gonna go with that one. So Bill, final thoughts of the people.
Yeah, it's a big one. You're going to call it a playoff football the rest of the year. So, it's the playoffs for us. It's I think it's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a nail biter. But luckily it's a noon game. So we'll know the fate, as Steve-O said, about 3:30 or so.
Yep. Yeah, man. I like the noon kickoff. We'll get up early. Those type of grills, steak and eggs, throw them on some Cuban bread with some potato sticks, and watch the game.
Right, great opportunity for Miami here, backing up. I believe you do kind of look like Andre
Somebody-
Reed.
For real?
Yeah, get Andre Reed picture up here. You know what he looks like?
Nah, right? That ain't the guy who be calling the games terrible, right?
No, that's Andre.
Andre Ware.
It's Andre Ware. Yeah.
Good in his prime Andre Reed picture here. You're going with the headband.
I used to rock that headband too. I had to keep the fro out.
It is not a great quality picture because it's from 1991, but I'm going to do the best I can.
Yeah, it was before my time. I'm 95, baby. I don't see it, man.
No, you don't think so?
I don't see it.
I'll keep finding. I'll look for some better ones. I honestly like if we put up your picture of your Madden or your NCAA creative character, I think that would really nail it down.
Nah, my dude got blonde dreads.
Do you remember?
He was gaming.
Do you remember the one that I'm referring to back when NCAA came out last year? Your creative character from last year.
Yeah, I know exactly. And that one had 30 picks.
What was funny is that like that exact character face is what my son used on his character. I was like, oh man, see all my son and his brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, I'm with you. Back it up. I'm with you. I'm totally on the same page, my friend. But anyway, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for joining the show and tuning in to hear us talk about Miami Hurricanes football for the week. Obviously, Miami's got a big game coming up this weekend. Hopefully, they're able to get the job done and continue on this streak. Like Bill said, 5 straight playoff games. So hopefully that ends up with another one at the tail end of it. Make sure you guys tune into that. Thanks to everyone over at CanesInSight for allowing us to do what we do here on the channel. We appreciate those guys greatly, just as much as we appreciate all you guys who are in the chat here with us tonight. Next week, we'll be right back here. Same place, same time. 3 Live Canes. See you again next week on Wednesday.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
He's a stud, that Brown, number 98.
Urban's got it. Urban's free. Slips to the outside, tries to stiff arm, and he couldn't get by